Namaste. I wanted to speak about fear and courage. Courage is a quality in the yogic tradition called Veda, and it's a quality like in so many cultures and traditions and practices even, right? It's considered paramount and one of the 9 most quintessential experiences of being human. They're called the rasas in the yoga tradition, and it means flavors or experiences of our states embodied. And so when we think about being heroic, what does one need to be heroic? Well, often it's courage. And yet there's this very important aspect of ourself that's biologically programmed into our nervous system of fear. And fear protects us. And we don't want to eradicate fear totally. Often there's the diatribe in our society that says, fear, who cares? Do it anyway. There's that energy about fear. Today, however, I'd love to take a few moments and get into relationship with fear. Have a cup of tea with fear. When we get to know where fear lives in our bodies and our physicalities, then we can dance with our fear and know when it's appropriate to exercise our courage and override our fear that isn't serving us and not stemmed from our intuition. Or we can identify, oh, that's like healthy fear, or that fear has information to teach and tell me. And may I listen to the wisdom of that fear? So rerouting our relationship with fear and knowing when it's time to access courage and then become the Vira, the heroine it's called in the yogic tradition of our own story. When we honor our fear, we're the hero or the heroine. When we override our fear in service of growing ourselves, in service of what feels right for us in the way of growth and challenging our own edges, then we too are the hero and heroine. So I think it's both. So you could sit for this practice, or you could lie flat. Whatever feels right for you. It'll be short, but you can extend it for really as long as you wish. And then, once you find your posture seated, make sure you're sitting on something upright, so your knees are hip height or slightly lower. Or it might be that you'd like to lie flat and be totally relaxed, supported by the floor. And then connect to your breath. Notice the breath pouring in. Notice the breath pouring out. As you feel the breath breathing, notice how it's truly always breathing you, this familiar friend of the breath. And start to feel it enter all areas of your body. From the periphery, the toe tips, through the fingertips, through the crown of the head. Notice the breath permeating all your cells. And now you can think of something that causes you a little bit of fear. Nothing too intense. Maybe like an email that makes you feel tense and you are a little fearful of the response, or not responding would make you feel a little fearful, and you can think of that. Maybe it's something else. Again, just a little bit of fear. And once you locate that feeling, notice where it lives in your body. continue to mull this moderate fear in your mind's eye. And it's amazing how the mind can stimulate, right, our feelings in the direction that it goes. It might be 2 areas of your body. But when you feel afraid, where is it moving towards in your body? Can you pinpoint that? Once you've located where the fear likes to dance, start to belly breathe. And then begin to, as the breath deepens, direct it to the area of the body where your fear is living. If it's in the chest or the throat, you can simply think of the chest or the throat and breathe. It's that simple, yet so profound. Continue to breathe and think of this area. Breathe into this area for about 10 more seconds. I'll let you know. Now there's a second part of the body that you felt spoke to you that was housing fear. You can think of that area and send your breath to that area as you breathe with deep belly breath. Or continue breathing with presence in the area that you initially selected. Make the breath even a little more fuller, even a little more deep. Continue the breath and honoring its flow. And begin to check in with one or both areas of the body where you had been experiencing fear. And notice if there's been any shifts, even if subtle. Notice how the breath has the power to transform and shape-shift fear. Continue to source that breath from the belly. And you can continue this breath work, continue to be present with this fear for as long as you wish. As you have relationship with your fear, we can then know what it's telling us. Maybe even now you could ask your fear, hey fear, now that you've ebbed a bit, what was a teaching, what was a thought that you had for me about said example that you used to work with today? What's under the fear? What's in the fear? What's connected to the fear? And continue to belly breathe and notice if any thoughts, answers, wisdom arises. Our bodies hold such wisdom, and our feelings do too. And so you can continue to breathe. Notice your fear speaking with you as you gave it a seat at the table. And or perhaps you notice it being dissolved or shape-shifted into something else. There's no right answer. It's simply practice. Thank you so much for being here with me and practicing. Namaste.